Hello. So, I would like to share with you certain words that I had totally taken out of my vocabulary. And I took them out for the sole reason I found that they weren't empowering me as a person, as a woman. Hope, wish, dream. A lot of you would say, but dream, wait a minute, girl. When you say dream, I dream to be. Exactly, stop right there. When you say dream, you go to bed at night and you sleep and you wake up in the morning, poof, it's gone. When you say I hope, subconsciously, this was my opinion and my feeling, subconsciously you were actually saying, I hope, but I'm not too sure, maybe. So you're actually saying no. So let's not confuse imagination with dreaming. And earlier on in my career, I realized that for me to reach my imagined me, I needed to get rid of these words, simple words that you use every day. But you will see that once you change your vocabulary, it helps you reach your imagined me. So today, my topic here with you is imagining the way to the future you. I want to share my story because I felt that for the first time in many years, I was ready now to talk to a crowd about it. My family knew, personal friends, but today you will actually be the first here to know my journey from South Africa to Czech Republic. So that's me. I couldn't find any normal picture. I had a unibrow. That's my grandmother, my sister, my cousin. I was born and raised in Cape Town during apartheid. I come from a mixed-race family, multicultural. My father's white Czech. My mom is mixed. She's not quite black, she's not quite white, and during apartheid, it wasn't quite right. So it was difficult. We had obstacles. It was crazy. I mean, how can people think like that, right? So in '97, my dad said, you know what, I think it's time we move from South Africa to Europe. And the reason why he decided this, the crime rate started to go through the roof. And in our area where we were staying, it was really hard. And my mom sat down with my dad and she said, I think it's time we moved. And my dad said, right. At the time, little did we know of the obstacles we would face as a family. And I'm not just talking myself, you know it as well, the everyday difficulties you face in life when you meet someone and you just don't know how you're going to get through that day. But the fantastic thing about each and every one of you here is your mind. Because you go to it. You talk to yourself. You imagine yourself. I don't know about you, but I talk every day in front of the mirror to get through the day. I'm up at 4:15, and I say, today, I'm going to do it. Why? Because I have a milestone that I have to reach. So we moved to Czech Republic. 4 girls, not a word of Czech. And I can see there are a few of you here today that Czech is not your first language. My dad never spoke with us, so I had to learn Czech here. And we know it is not an easy language to learn. It is difficult. In English, you can say, I'm going to the shop, and in Czech, you have 7 ways of saying it. So this was the first struggle, the first challenge. But I said, I imagine myself having my high school diploma. I imagine myself doing it. And I refused to use the words, I wish that I could get my high school diploma because... Absolutely no. You put those words in the bin. I know many people use these words, but I always found that subconsciously there was this negative connotation to it. Because you're hoping, but you're wishing, but no. Now, the only problem with my situation was I was 2 years here. Czech was not my mother tongue. I couldn't get accepted into the basic high schools. And I was still studying music privately. So I said, okay, I'm studying music privately. I need to get a high school education. But how am I going to do this? How? So I went through, and there was no social media back then. No, there was the thick yellow book. So you go through the pages looking for private education. And that's exactly what I did. I found a school that I could do international long-distance learning. Then the next obstacle came. How am I going to pay for it? My parents didn't have the funds. So went to your mind, stood in front of the mirror, and I said, what am I going to do? I'm going to get a job. 16, I walked Prague streets looking for jobs. Any type of job. I didn't care. I just knew that even though I had all these different obstacles, my imagined me was going to get that high school diploma. So eventually, I found a job on Napříkopě, one of the first fashion shops that opened up here. And it was fantastic. The owners were extremely wonderful. They gave me a job, and I was able to work during the day, study at night. And over the weekends, I had concerts with DJs. And I was so excited because I said, okay, I can see myself. I can finally, I'm going to reach it. But then something happened, and this is life. An obstacle struck. My personal life at home was going down the drain. I love my parents. They're fantastic people. But at this time, it was very difficult. Now, I'm going to go off topic here just for a second. Bear with me. While I was working at this shop, I met a girl. She became one of my best friends till today. And she understood what was happening. And she said, Vicky, well, why don't you come stay with my family and me? And I was like, what? Like, are you serious, girl? She welcomed me with open arms. Her family welcomed me with open arms. And I remember the day that I brought the few things that I did to their house. And I stood and I had my bag, and her dad, who's here today, he stood in the doorway and he gave me a hug. And I felt as if the weight of the world was falling off my shoulders. Because in that 2 years, the struggle, the fighting, the subtle bullying at the private school, it was very hard. But I was able to do it. And during my stay at her family's house, they gave me the space, the freedom to finally reach my imagined me. And I did it, so tick off. That's it. Imagine me done. I reached the high school education. I was happy. So where do I go from here? Because I would like to tell you, as soon as you reach any type of, and I don't like using also the word much goal, but I'll say goal, when you reach your imagine me, or that specific task you've put out for yourself, when you've reached it, you will update it as you would an iPhone and Android. And you move on to your next chapter in your life. Whether it be 2 years or 3 years down the line, you update it. Because it's important to have that imagination, to have that dream onto the next step. So at the time, because I was singing, I was working with top DJs, I decided I wanted to become a recording label artist. But how was I going to do that? So I met a few producers and we sat down, and one of those producers said, hey Vicky, why don't we make an album together? I think it would be so much fun. So we put a few songs together. We approached many record labels. None of them would sign. Until Universal Music, they took me on and they said, okay, you can do this. And I'm so grateful for the opportunity because I toured, I worked with top producers, and it was an experience and a moment. And when you are going through something like this, you realize that you also have to give back. Because even though you are blessed every day with the things that are given to you, you have to give back. So what I did is I started with sports because I said, okay, I'm good at working. I have 2 kids. I need to get back into shape. And what was very exciting about this, I did this triathlon in Brazil. And it was a moment that I'll never forget because the hard work. After 2 kids, your body changes. That's ladies. That's a fact. So after 2 kids, my body changed. And it was one of the things, again, being a mom, because I wanted to concentrate on having a family. But I also wanted to get back into shape. And even though you have obstacles every day in life, like I say, and you have a vision, you can do it. It's in your mind. I advise, and I say it again, take away words that you feel are constricting your imagined me, because it's so important that you do, and that you have a certain goal in your life where you want to take yourself. And the feeling that I had from this was, oh my God, yes, I've done it, this is great. But I was blessed, and I still say it, every day I am. And the next thing I wanted to do was give back. My girlfriend and myself, we founded a charity organization. And the reason we're different from so many is because she works and I work. And every cent that comes in goes specifically to the people that need it, to the people that really need it. And this, for me, is what's great about, giving back to society, giving back to the community. So I tell people time and time again, even though you're blessed with what you do, find ways to help other people, even if it's simple things. Like if you see your friend is struggling with homework, that's giving back. Now, after I had the organization, I was saying to myself, what am I going to do next? What's going to be next? And I want you to think about things in life where you see your imagined me, because it is important. And dreaming and imagination are 2 different things. I imagine being an astronaut. I imagine being a lawyer. I imagine myself being a doctor. I don't like using the word dream because I feel that it does restrict you. So here, that's a dream. That is a dream. You go to bed and unicorn, you wake up and it's finished. So when you look at your life and where you see yourself in 4 years, 3 years, 6 months, remember that dreaming and imagination are 2 different things. And I urge you and I challenge you to imagine yourself to the future you, because it is so important. Thank you very much.